Blog Talk Radio.
Over the course of history, humans have had over 3,000 gods. Yes, over 3,000.
We are getting daily reports of churches being burned to the ground, Christian homes being destroyed, as well as daily reports of attacks against Christian believers. But why is this happening?
I'm just so enraged by all these atheist displays and trying to push Jesus to the back seat.
I believe that God is about to sweep clean many, many places of power in America.
Hundreds of protesters gather outside a mosque in Afghanistan's capital to rally against the United States. Shouting death to America, they demand the U.S. government quash a church's plans to burn the Quran.
Welcome to the God Discussion Show. And now, the news.
We are launching a house of prayer between Detroit and Dearborn, and and of course that exploded in my spirit because the prayer movements are rising in America, and I believe his target of intercession in many ways is for the Muslims to know the love of Jesus. And we're going to Detroit. The largest population of Muslims is right next to Detroit. We dare to believe that millions of Muslims are going to come to Christ as the church prays and goes with signs and wonders.
Islam is in our face everywhere we turn. And here in America, this is the one place where it is most in our face right now.
At 11:11:11, the Lord just clearly showed to us, he says, you've got to pray all night long. Because it's when the Muslims sleep. And all over the world right now, Muslims in the night are having dreams of Jesus. We believe that God wants to invade with his love Dearborn with dreams of Jesus. And we're gathering together to say, God, pour out your grace and a revelation of Jesus all over Dearborn and the Muslim communities of North and South America. I think it's a crisis moment.
We need to recognize that Islam itself is not just a religion. It is a totalitarian way of life. It's a legal system, Sharia law. It's a financial system. It's a moral code. It's a political system. It's a military system. It should not be protected under the First Amendment.
I'm saying, God, no, not here. America is saying, Muslims are saying by the year 2050, America is going to be Islamic nation. Something in my spirit says that is not an empty statement. It's actually a statement of spiritual intent. The church must raise up a house of prayer to contend with Islam. Raise up a 24/7 house of prayer. Muslim proclamations for 1,400 years have been fueling the demonic realm. Give us a generation like that. We said, God, we have to have you, or the Muslims are going to have their day. Give us the Muslims. Give us the strongholds of Islam. The gates of hell will not prevail.
And on the eve of 11/11/11, welcome to the God Discussion Show. My name is Deborah, and with me is HD and Dakota O'Leary for the news. How are y'all?
Hi.
Good.
Doing great.
Good. Well, that clip was from People for the American Ways Right Wing Watch, and they've been following the same story that I have about Lou Engle, who orchestrates The Call, is having this big prayer rally tomorrow on 11/11/11, which these Christian dominionist types think is like this real, important day. And now that the Muslim community is aware of this and stepping up their security, all of a sudden they're saying, oh, no, this isn't anti-Muslim. This is just about uplifting the community. And so here you heard a year's worth of lies that these people have been saying. Any comments on that?
I think 11/11/11 is a very important day, but that's just because one of my favorite grocery stores is opening up a liquor store today, and one of my favorite games is coming out. But other than that, I think it's a very average day. As far as I heard him spoke of the dreams of Jesus. And it is true that some Muslims have dreams of Jesus. This seems to only disprove their theology more than prove it, because the only other religion that seems to be having dreams of Jesus is the ones that are already incorporated into their religion. We don't have Hindus or Sikhs or Buddhists suddenly dreaming of Jesus. It's only the ones that incorporate him as a prophet that ever actually give him any note in their unconscious thoughts. So that's my thoughts on it.
Well, and this whole thing with 11-11-11, I mean, it's not only the New Apostolic Reformation people. The New Agers are all into it also. And
12-12-12 is going to get the same thing next year.
Oh, yeah, it will, definitely. But these New Apostolic people who believe in taking over the 7 mountains and all that, they've been gathering for 40 days, and it's culminating tomorrow on 11-11-11. And they are going to blanket the District of Christ with prayer. And most of us know the District of Christ as Washington, D.C., but they have renamed this. I heard you laughing, Dakota. What do you think about that one?
I was just thinking that District of Christ is probably not anywhere close to it, given the politicians that live there and how much they lie every day.
When you said District of Christ, I thought you meant Kentucky.
No, D.C.
Yeah,
at least the Creation Museum that they have in Kentucky. That's the only District of Christ that I'm aware of. They actually have literal policemen there that are affiliated specifically with the Creation Museum. That's the only District of Christ I'm particularly aware of.
Well, maybe this would mean that we don't, have to pay taxes to it if it's a religious organization there. I mean, Joe Zemecki, I see him in the chat room, and he's been advocating that churches need to be taxed, and I agree with him, but that's neither here nor there. Well, meanwhile, in preparation for 11-11-11, we have these people who say that they're Mayan elders, and they've been traveling across the country, stopping at sacred spots, and they're carrying around with them 13 crystal skulls. And this is going to culminate into some kind of ceremony in Los Angeles tomorrow called the World Mysteries Gateway event. Anyone see this?
Yeah. Didn't you see Raiders of the Lost Ark ever, where they lined up the 13 skulls and the aliens came down? Come on.
I'm pro aliens. If this causes us first contact, I'm for it.
Right.
Oh, well, there's this end times pastor named Paul Begley, and I kind of consider him the Art Bell of Christian evangelism because I get all my weird religious news from him, and
awesome.
He really is, and I want to get him on the show. The Time magazine actually had profiled him when all those birds were dying and fish and everything, and he said that was a sign of the end. Well, his commentary about these Mayan elders and the crystal skulls is that it created the earthquake in Oklahoma.
Obviously.
Here, I thought it was fracking.
I thought it was tectonic plates shifting, but
oh no, that's too rational. That is way too rational, HD. But that does take us to my favorite segment of the show.
Armageddon Minute.
So Dakota, you did a lot of writing about the Oklahoma earthquakes, and so what did you discover in terms of the Oklahoma earthquake? You did some writing about that and followed our favorite pastor.
Oh, yes. Yes. It was classic. It was classic Paul Begley. He was talking about earthquakes in Oklahoma, then Israel, then earthquakes in Oklahoma again. Then he sang and did all kinds of stuff when he was talking about Hosea and the end times, and it was really, really popular. The traffic went nuts on it.
Well, and he's saying that it was an earthquake in a diverse place. That was predicted in Matthew. Well, guess what? The next day, Pat Robertson, said the same thing on the Praise the Lord Club, or the 700 Club.
Praise the Lord Club.
what I love about this is that there's never a secular earthquake. It's never is there ever been a time, at least since I've been born, that an earthquake has occurred where it wasn't, oh, this is a message from God. It's not as though there's ever any sort of coincidence. It's always, well, this is obviously about this thing that I happen to care about right now that I've been talking about for a couple of years.
Well, that's true. Just wait, those evil humanists and secular humanists and atheists, when they start creating earthquakes, boy, that really is the end, huh?
There was a movie about that a while back. It almost destroyed the planet, but, at least that started Hilary Swank. So I was happy with that. But otherwise, no, they need to stop claiming natural disasters as obviously God speaking to us in some way, because even if we were doing everything well, there's still going to be natural disasters.
Exactly right. Well, I don't know if this is a natural disaster, but it is natural because the Duggar family, which does not use any form of birth control, just announced that they're having their 20th child. Number 20.
The internet was buzzing with whether or not that's healthy. My midwife says it's not.
Well, and the thing is, they are part of that quiverful movement that we've talked about before, where there's some verse in the book of Psalms that says that children are quivers from the Lord, and you're going to raise this army of God, and so you can't have birth control. And, this is kind of a theocratic point of real fundy Christian point of view, and they were trying to push that through that personhood amendment in Mississippi. And we did a poll about that maybe a month and a half ago on God Discussion, and most of us kind of thought it would pass in Mississippi because they are the most religious and conservative state in the Union, but it failed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I thought the language was too extreme even for that area. As far as the Duggars are concerned, I just have to say, are her hips like permanently expanded now? Or are they just at this point saying, you know what, we're already stuck in this position. There's no need to expand any further. I don't understand. Anatomically, this isn't something that I'm saying against women at all. It's just I have to think. I don't think the human body was meant to do that 20 times in a row.
I don't believe it was either. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just saying the Duggars must really love sex.
I don't necessarily say that. I would like to think most people have sex more than 20 times. It's just that they don't. They seem to act from the small amount of viewing I've seen of their show. They seem to actively not just want sex. It's like I want to have as many kids as possible. I think they'd have kids even if it did not require sex.
Are you saying that humans weren't meant to have litters?
Not quite, no. I mean, maybe triplets every now and then, but I just think I'll be interested to see how this woman progresses physically once she's reached, past her 50s or something along those lines, because I know that pregnancy does a lot of hormonal stuff. So constantly being in a state of pregnancy has got to do something.
I was speaking to a midwife about this not too long ago, and she said it's not healthy to have kids bam, 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 bam like that. It takes a toll. Babies leach calcium out of your bones, and exhaustion, emotional stuff, all sorts of stuff. So...
Well, and we've had people from the Quiverful movement on Vicki Garrison in particular on the show before, and she almost died from the 7th kid. And I think the Duggars, number 19, didn't they have a lot of complications with that baby? But of course they run to the medical community for help then, but they won't rely on it to stop having all these children.
Right.
But Dakota,
technically, it's a good strategy in the long run. Even if the last 5 turn out to be incredibly unhealthy, those 15 are going to pass on this to their children, and at least the women are going to be more inclined to have even more babies and pass on this to their children. It's technically an effective strategy.
It's very true. Well, we're getting to that Christmas time of year again, and and of course our war on Christmas. Well, now there's a new kind of war, and it's on Christmas trees. What happened with that one, Dakota?
Okay. What the Christmas tree industry decided to do was they decided to accept a federal government program that would charge them an extra 15 cents per fresh tree. And this 15 cents would go into a fund to help them make commercials like the Got Milk commercials.
Uh-huh.
And it would help them raise more sales of fresh Christmas trees, because fresh Christmas tree sales have declined something like 65% since 1964, and people are buying artificial trees rather than fresh trees. So this was all meant to help boost Christmas tree sales, which is what conservatives claim that they want. And then all of a sudden, when conservatives heard about this 15 cents charge, which the Christmas tree industry agreed on, they started claiming that it was a tax, and Obama was Grinch, and he was going to tax the Christmas trees, and this 15 cents would be passed down to the consumer, and this and that and the other thing. Well, they made such a stink about it that the Department of Agriculture said, okay, no program for the Christmas tree. You guys are on your own. And they eliminated it completely the same day it was supposed to come out.
This is, I have to say, this is a really bad thing, because I'm actually pro fresh Christmas trees, not for any religious significance, but as far as the environment, the more Christmas trees we sell, the more people there are planting fresh trees. It's actually better for the environment than having a fake one. And just for me personally, aesthetically, I appreciate the smell of a fresh tree versus pulling out of the fake one. The fake ones might look a little bit better, but anyway, that's just my personal taste. But from an environmental standpoint, this would actually be a really good thing. And who's really going to complain about 15 cents on a $60 tree?
Well, the Tea Party would, and one of the Tea Party's favorites, Herman Cain. Every time I think of him now, I hear that song in my head, "Let my people go," after he was comparing himself with Moses. Well, now we've had all this other these sexual complaints coming up. Dakota, he's now referring to the Bible to defend himself?
Yes, he got together with the Republican National Committee chairman, and they went over, I think it was Isaiah 56, and it was all about a prayer to protect Herman Cain from his enemies and let God smite those who speak against you and all this kind of thing. And I just thought, wow, he's really playing that victim card as far as he can go. I don't know for sure, because I'm not him, about whether or not he did it. I'm not saying I know, but I'm just saying that somebody who's playing the victim that hard, there's something fishy going on.
Yeah, well, the GOP is all very much into, we are a Christian nation. There's no separation of church and state. And our guest tonight is Jason X with the World Union of Deists.